I'm going to get through this as fast as I can. I should have did this video yesterday, especially in light of the DC National Guard's testimony that someone screwed up big time on January 6th. And right now, all the fingers are being pointed, rightfully, at Donald Trump and his Pentagon officials. What I'm about to read to you is an article from Business Insider. The link is on the bottom of the description of the video. Once you read it, and once you hear me read it, actually, or both, you'll understand that sooner or later, Donald Trump is going to be charged with treason. That a lot of his officials in the Pentagon are going to be charged with treason. Take a listen to this. The commander of the DC National Guard said in his testimony that it took the military leaders and former President Trump's Pentagon 3 hours from the time the Capitol Police called for backup to tell him to send in troops to respond to the attack on the U.S. Capitol. Major General William Walker, the commanding general of the DC National Guard, told senators at a congressional hearing that shortly after receiving a call for support, he was ready to send roughly 150 Guard troops to the Capitol. He said they could have been there in about 20 minutes, but needed approval from the Pentagon leadership. At 1:49 p.m. on January 6, this is General Walker speaking, I received a frantic call from the Chief of Capitol Police, Stephen Sund, where he informed me that the security perimeter at the Capitol had been breached by hostile rioters. In his testimony, Walker recalled that Sund, his voice was cracking with emotion, indicated that there was a dire emergency on Capitol Hill, and requested the immediate assistance of as many guardsmen as I could muster. Walker said that he immediately relayed requests for National Guard support to senior Army leadership and quickly readied immediate forces. He did not get approval to deploy Guard troops from the Army leadership until 5:08 p.m., hours after the violent mob had breached the Capitol. He said that once he finally received approval, he was able to get troops to the Capitol in 18 minutes. The commanding general said that he had troops ready to go shortly after the phone call at 1:49 p.m. But while he was ready to respond, he had to wait for approval. Asked about the potential impact that those Guards troops had if they had been deployed sooner, Walker said, and I quote, "could have made a difference," adding, of course, that could have extended the perimeter and helped push back the crowd, unquote. Walker, who was part of a conference call around 2:30 p.m., said that there were concerns raised about the optics of sending Guard troops to the Capitol. He said that the senior Army leaders did not think it would look good. The actual decision makers were apparently not in on the call. The Pentagon's timeline of events in January 6 state that although Acting Secretary of Defense Chris Miller approved the full activation of the DC National Guard at 3:04 p.m., the decision to authorize already available to DC Guard troops to move in on to support the Capitol Police was not made until 4:32 p.m. That timeline shows that the troops were already ready to respond, did not depart the National Guard Armory to support Capitol Police until 5 p.m., when Walker says he was finally given approval. A DoD official who testified before Congress was unable to explain why it took over half an hour after the 4:32 decision for someone to notify the DC Guard commander. The defense official, Robert G. Sellis, a senior official performing the duties of the Assistant Secretary for Homeland Security, he in Defense and Global Security, acknowledged that the communications breakdown was an issue. Acting Defense Secretary Miller A last-minute Trump administration appointee told Vanity Fair in January that allegations that at the Pentagon dragged its feet in responding to the Capitol riot were, using his words, complete horseshit. I know for an absolute fact that historians are going to look at the actions of what we did on that day ago. Those people had their game together. There's an underlying thing that I didn't even mention, that wasn't even mentioned in this article. The National Guard Armory for the DC district was only 20 miles away. That's basically walking distance if you're a soldier. Someone did not want the National Guard there. There to stop these riots. And right now, the only person I can think of at this point is Donald Trump. But let's get something in perspective, shall we? I keep hearing from Donald Trump supporters every time I or someone else or some reporter mentions the DC riots. Every time we mention them, we always hear about what happened last summer, the aftermath of the riots after the murder of George Floyd. Now, if you remember correctly, the National Guard was in D.C. and other cities across the country to quell those riots when they turned violent. Donald Trump gave the order. State governors followed the orders, or at least the state governors that are Trump supporters. The question I've got for you, for everyone out there, and no one is going to answer it, I already know this, is why did it take so long to get the National Guard, which is 20 miles away, to the Capitol? There are three possible explanations. Either the general is lying, which he has absolutely no reason to lie. Someone did not pass on the message through the chain of command, getting those troops ready, which is highly likely considering the chain of command is mostly full of Trump supporters. And the third most likeliest is because they didn't want the riots to stop. They, of course, being Donald Trump, his people in the Pentagon. In any of these cases, I'm going to say it right now. The fingers are pointing directly at Donald Trump and his officials. Donald Trump, right now, needs to be criminally charged with treason. And I know it's the ugliest word out there, even especially in this country. Treason is one of the gravest capital crime ever committed, punishable by death. Now, mind you, I am not calling for the death penalty on Donald Trump, although he deserves it. But someone needs to be held accountable for this. And the Trump supporters need to stop trying to compare this to what happened in the past summer. The National Guard responded to the riots after the death of George Floyd, after that video went out. The National Guard didn't respond because someone didn't get them ready. Now, the general is on the stand under oath saying that we could have been there in 20 minutes with less than 150 guardsmen ready to deploy. So someone didn't get the message, or didn't want to get the message, or didn't transmit the message. Either way, it's all falling on Donald Trump. Now today, some woman on Facebook who's been challenging me to debate her keeps saying that I'm obsessed with Donald Trump. I am not obsessed with him. A crime was committed that could have ripped apart our democracy, all for the ego and the stubbornness of one man. A man that has already shown day in and day out in the last 4 years of his dictatorship, of his regime, that he is not capable of being a world leader. let alone the leader of the free world, let alone the leader of this country. I'm not obsessed with him. I just want justice. 5 people were killed then. One of them, a police officer. Who wouldn't want justice after something like that? We screamed for justice after 9/11. What is so different about now? Is it because it's Donald Trump? Is it because the crime was committed by American citizens? There is no difference at all. And one last thing before I cut this video off. As of the posting of this video, nothing has happened in the Capitol. The increase in security may have deterred QAnon for trying to overthrow the government again and reinstall Donald Trump. But it's not over. Donald Trump needs to be convicted criminally of treason against the state. He pushed the plan. He pushed the attack. He didn't do anything to stop the attack other than a bunch of mealy-mouthed platitudes. You heard it yourself from this article. 3 hours went by before the National Guard responded. 3 hours. 2.5, at best estimate, 2.5 after the Capitol Police called them, saying that we need help. That to me is suspect. Someone needs to be held accountable, and that someone has to be Donald Trump. CTP, know the truth. God bless. Peace to the left, justice to the right.